Yeah, I know. It sounded mad from the bayou. Mm. Oh shit, Pete Rose died. You heard? Pete Rose died. Yeah, this is an appropriate like Charlie Hustle. Yeah. Yeah.
And we are live. I am under your banner. You're under my banner. I don't know what's going on here. Let's adjust this. Make sure the audio is good. Say something so the people can hear.
Hello.
All right, there it is. We are live. Live at 5, even though it's not 5. The week 5 preview. Not really a week 5 preview, more like a week 4 review. A Monday night preview. We got a lot to get into about what happened in the NFL this past week. We'll do a recap of the picks. My 3 picks. I had the Bengals, I had the Cardinals, and I had the Jets. So I only get 1 pick correct, 1 point pick. My first pick, the Bengals, the only one that worked out for me. Flex
That was a
is the
one.
big
That was a
winner
1
of the
point.
week. Say again.
Was that the 1 point or?
1 point, yes sir.
Wow.
Flex with the 2 and the 3. Packers didn't get it done, although they tried their best to come back. But you had
Yeah.
Packers, Bears, and Ravens. Packers didn't get it done, but the Bears and the Ravens did. I love those picks. The Packers probably should have gotten it done. They just got off to a slow start for whatever reason. And Word Life now has his 2-point pick on the line tonight. Besides that, he had the Jaguars. He got that one right. And he had the Chargers. We have our first official push of the new season. So his 3-point pick was officially a push. That's going to be a 1.5. So Chargers +7 landed on the number. And a rough week for the Bucs. The Bucs, unfortunately, 1 and 2, had the Bills, the Bucs, and the Patriots. And we had our 2 first money line parlay draft hits. I hit mine. Word Life already hit his. Yours fell short because of my Cardinals. My guy Johnny G let us all down. But yeah, I mean, a lot to get into. How are you feeling? Well, first off, about your picks.
I think I like the picks. We also can't forget that my Vegas Saints slick pick that also came to fruition. The Buccaneers +1.5. Um, and I felt good about the picks when I made them. There was nothing emotional there. That's probably the best way to approach gambling as a whole. And I did the wrong pick on the wrong side on the Packers, but that could have just been by the time Jordan Love was able to shake off some of that dust, I think it was a little bit too late because it was that they were down like I think if they weren't if I'm not mistaken, they were down 4 touchdowns
Yeah.
or at least 4 scores. I know that, and 7 years ago. But I don't know. I feel pretty good, and I was a little anxious for a bit about the Bears pick. I was still pulling for my Packers pick, but that beautiful 3-point pick, there was never a doubt on that one. That was one play, whoop, Derrick Henry 87 yards to the house, and I was able to at least be consoled by the fact that I was gonna have a good night on the picks.
Yeah. So I kind of knew going in that I was being a little, being a little whimsical about my picks, but I did feel I I won't say that I regret the picks. I just felt like it was a week where I didn't really have any like the picks that I typically would go towards. I didn't really feel better about them than I felt about any of the favorites.
And you were jet lagged, you didn't have your feet under you. You were still shaking off the the
Yeah,
uh
I didn't have
Celtic
a.
the Celtic cobwebs.
I
So
mean, jet lag is certainly an interesting way to put it.
uh
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not gonna like this, but if I'm being
Mm.
100% honest, I was so happy that the Jets lost that game because they had no business winning that game the way that they played. And if they would have found a way to win that game and I lost my pick, I just selfishly was like, if I'm going to lose my pick after I had so much faith in them
I
and
want
they
these
come out and
motherfuckers to
play like
lose.
this, they have no business winning that game. It was very obvious. You know what the crazy thing is? And silly me, maybe this is just me, an idiot. It wasn't until very late in that game that I was really like, okay, now I even at halftime, as shitty as it was, I still felt like I still could very easily get this cover. They were up 6-0. I was like, all it's gonna take is a score.
Yeah, and
I didn't really feel like um that the Broncos were. I mean, obviously they weren't doing anything at offense at all in the first half. So at no point, I still kind of felt like the way that I looked at the game going into it was coming to fruition to a certain degree in the first half because my whole kind of point was I didn't think that the Broncos offense was what people were projecting them to be based off of the Buccaneers game because in
mhm,
reality in that Buccaneers game they put together two scripted touchdown drives in the first quarter and they didn't score a touchdown for the rest of the game. And so
yeah,
I just was always kind of under the impression that as long as the Jets were able to put together, a couple of touchdown drives that the Broncos would just not be able to keep up. So on one end of that, I feel like I had it right to a certain degree because the Broncos were not able to, really do anything offensively. They kind of, Bo Nix kind of fell back. He had a couple of decent passes at the very end, but I think the Broncos offense proved to be what I thought they were, but the Jets offense was just, I mean, just abominable.
offensive.
So obviously a reevaluation of that. Where do you stand on how you view that game and what do you take away from that?
I'm also on one hand, I'm kind of glad they lost that game.
Oh, we're gonna do that.
No, 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 because this is the thing that drives
Somehow,
me
whenever the
crazy.
Jets lose this season, the fans are glad they lost. Why is that?
No, no,
I
no,
don't get it.
because this is the thing that drives me crazy about, and this was if we did this before my Mets had that thrilling victory that made me feel a little bit better, I would have still probably been in a shitty mood. But since I had one of the greatest wins in Mets history, greatest games in Mets history, I feel a little bit better mood, and I could put stuff into perspective a little bit better. But I'm over Robert Sala. Um, I'm done. I'm pretty much done with him now. because it's not the culture, it's not the culture of the actual team within the walls and how they want to build the team and the type of players that they want. It's the culture of thinking that you're better than you are every time you do something good. And this game felt like they thought that they were going to be able to go in there, big game next week, keep everything close to the vest. They were going to be able to do like almost like a preseason game plan where we were just going to do regular ass shit. We were going to win this, and then next week we were going to unleash. Like that's what it felt. That's what it felt like. Because it's almost like, yo, you know what, we got this. You know what I'm saying? We beat this team last year with Zach Wilson. Come on, we can we could do this again this year. So I said, just roll out your game plan. You know, don't dust anything new off. Keep everything keep everything under wraps. We should be able to take care of this team without putting out our best stuff. And it drives me crazy because this team is so much better than it was last year, and obviously the record. All right, let's say the record is a little bit better, but they haven't. At the end of the day, the record, like what they've produced, isn't that. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers does deserve some blame, but he did get hit a fucking ton yesterday, and Brees Hall deserves blame. Garrett Wilson deserves blame because these are the guys that that they walked around during the preseason. Like we don't have to, like we're built for this. We don't have to do anything. Once we get out there, that's when we're gonna do our magic, and that's not the case. Like these are still young players, and Brees Hall ran like he had ski boots on yesterday. Like he had no grip on his feet. Like everything was just falling as soon as he got to the line, falling one way, falling the other. Like, and what drove me crazy specifically was this thing where it's like instead of giving it to Braylon Allen at the 1 yard line, they're like, oh, we got to get Brees this touchdown because we don't know how like it's almost like we think you're sensitive. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to give you the touchdown opportunity instead of giving it to the bowling ball that every time he ran the ball, literally every time he ran the ball, he would, even if he got hit at the line of scrimmage, somehow it'd be 2nd and 5 because he doesn't fall backwards. He doesn't fall sideways. He falls forward and he's 6'3". And once he gets momentum, by the time he ends up hitting the ground, there's a lot of space between point A and point B. And, we did have, Mike Williams showed up a little bit. And for the life of me, I do not know why they keep throwing the ball to Xavier Gibson. Like, my dude I love it because of the way he's an underdog. He's a, undrafted free agent from last year. He's a good dude. He's 5'8". He's 5'8" against a good Broncos pass secondary. What are you doing? Why are you throwing it down the sideline to him? Why are you throwing it down the middle for? You have Malachi Corley, who you just have to put the ball in his hands and he can run over about 4 or 5 people. He's a yak king, and you're trying to give this to and you're trying to force feed some of these dudes that on a rainy day you don't have to force feed. You can easily explain away. We had to switch up our game plan. Shit was getting ugly out there, and we had to kind of, close up the playbook a little bit and kind of go with who's hot and how everything is running. But for the life of me, man, like it's just that's the coaching is what lost this game because as bad as they were, they still should have won this game. As bad as they played, they still should have won this game. And had they won the game, they would have been still like floating on cloud nine, feeling themselves like, yo, none of you dudes can be feeling yourselves. You guys have accomplished nothing. You guys have accomplished nothing so far. You guys have, you got offensive rookie of the year, great running back, all of this stuff. But yo, you guys have to stop acting like y'all did something. Y'all haven't. You're supposed to. but only if you guys produce like you have been projected forward with a better quarterback and all. It's all based on projection. You haven't actually done it yet, so figure it out.
Yeah. So you're done with Salah. What is the what is that? I mean,
I'm done with them, and I because okay, obviously there's nothing you can do about it. You're not gonna change coach. You're not gonna hire a coach. You're not gonna do it. But I'm just done believing in like oh like before when I was like he's had shitty hands to be dealt with before that he's been dealt. Okay, that's one thing. So I can look past that a lot because there's also been stuff there that could have been, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But just not like enough, man. He just sits there and it's like it's like the where you came from is all hard. No, like that's why what look what happened to you in San Francisco. You guys prepared for you guys prepared for McCaffrey, and then the last second they gave you Jordan Mason, who you have a Jordan Mason, and you saw what Jordan Mason did to you, but still you want to play cute at the fucking .5 yard line when you need a touchdown, and you're doing these side runs and you're doing counters with Brees Hall on a day that he has no footing because it was a like the horrible weather. You can see you can literally see like when he was running, he was slipping sideways, and doing counters with a guy. I know he's big, but like it's not this guy. He's not playing games. It's 1 yard. It's 1 yard. It should be 1 yard. It should be halfback dive. HB dive on Madden. That's what you should have been doing 4 times, not two times, not one time, not 3 times, all 4 times. Because there's no way that everybody's stopping Braylon Allen. Because clearly we saw that they couldn't stop him anywhere else. That they were going to stop him on the line. It's just like, and it's all to like satiate, like yeah, Brees, you're still that guy. I know everybody's talking about Braylon Allen, but you're still that dude. Don't worry, man. We're gonna get you a touchdown like that. I'm 100% positive that that's what it is. And you can be a player's coach, but you can't be over the top players coach like that. Like the penalties, nothing happens to them. Like on obviously like well on top of that, Brees Hall had 2 false starts at running back. Like what are you doing? Like at some point, it's like yo, he didn't earn the right to get that touchdown. Get the touchdown by any means. They get that touchdown, and first of all, even if they didn't get the touchdown, they still have the Broncos on the .5 yard line, and they have to, and they would have had to get out of that hole. And we saw what was going on, and we saw what was going on early in that first half. Even when they did have the ball. So now put that rookie quarterback in a position where he could possibly, if it's a holding call, if it's intentional grounding, he could get a safety, and then you still get the ball back, and you're able to do something because the field position was the problem in the beginning of the game because they had the fumble. Garrett Wilson, I believe it was him. He had the fumble, and it messed up the field position game for the whole entire half, and it was just infuriating.
yeah. The one thing I could not believe that, because speaking of field position, they got so many in those last couple of drives. They got gifts in terms of field position, from the missed field goal to the pass interference. The fact that so many things went their way down the stretch and they still couldn't even get 20 yards to get a better field goal kick, that was very, very troubling. I don't know, like, I don't really know what to make of it because it was just such a weird game. The one thing the bigger, broader picture thing that I take away is that I don't know what I don't know what my expectations of this offense should be with Aaron Rodgers because, and I said this even last year, that the whole Nate Hackett offense, I feel like it's like a theoretical concept. It's not about a playbook. It's more about a vibe. Like he feels
Yeah.
very much like a vibes type of coordinator, and I feel like that was why we saw last year that he had nothing to offer the players that were on the field if Aaron Rodgers was not playing quarterback.
Hmm.
And now that Aaron Rodgers is there, now that we're finally getting a chance to see Aaron Rodgers kind of with a new team, with new receivers, with a new O line, I don't know if and he's all obviously coming off of an injury, obviously an older player, and obviously was showing signs of decline even in his last years in Green Bay. I'm 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 curious to see if this offense, this Aaron Rodgers offense, is still going to work given all the things I just mentioned, all the circumstances, given the fact that it's not really based off of like you just mentioned about how they kind of you felt as though they came into the game with like this we're not going to show anything type of game plan. I don't think there's anything to show. I don't think that there's any mastermind plays that they're holding back. I don't think that that has ever been the offense that Aaron Rodgers runs. I think Aaron Rodgers, he runs a West Coast offense, and he's just has always had the ability to, between being able to read defenses and being able to, you know, make the right play, make the right pass, have the right timing. He growing up, growing into his prime, he had the obviously athletic ability. I think he still has a decent arm, but in his physical prime, I think he was just so gifted. But I just don't think that there's. I don't think there's more plays coming. I don't think there's more offensive scheme coming. I think that the best you can hope for is that they get more chemistry as quickly as possible so you don't have some of the miscommunications and the bad route, where you have guys that are, I don't know who's running the right route, the wrong route, but clearly there were miscommunications where Aaron Rodgers is expecting the guy to be in a place and they're not there. He's bounce passing passes to, Tyler Conklin. I don't think that there's I don't think that there's anything else. I think that's it. I think that the offense, it either works or it doesn't. The timing is either there or it's not. But I don't think that they're holding anything back. I think you're just going to have to kind of hope that these guys get on the same page and the chemistry is there. And Aaron Rodgers' physical gifts, he has enough of it left to be able to be a functional, competent, successful quarterback. But I just don't. That was just troublesome for me because I didn't get it. Like I didn't get a chance to see the Patriots game. I didn't get a chance to see
No, that
what he
was
looked
it
like.
was night and day. It was night and day.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of disagree with what you're saying because even with the play in terms of the playbook, they were throwing out wrinkles out there that they weren't seeing before. They had Jeremy Ruckert at fullback. They had they had a lot more motion. They had the two back sets and like you know what I'm saying? It's like okay, we got to put that away so they don't see everything. Like
So if
because I
you,
think
but the reason why I find that hard to believe is because if there was any game that they weren't going to hold back what they can do on offense, after all of the keep my coach's name out of your mouth, all of this bullshit, if there was any game that they were going to break out something on offense, if they were going to go into you, maybe you can convince me that they came into that with that as the game plan first half. But when you're about to lose this embarrassing game to a rookie quarterback and to a coach who fucking shit on your your OC, at that point, if you're still telling me you're gonna have a hard time convincing me that at that point they're gonna sacrifice losing a game at home to this guy rather than breaking out plays that they can have success with.
yeah. I mean that's an understandable way to look at it. I think maybe it's a combination of both. Like maybe they did have stuff, and the weather made some of the stuff impossible that they had to scrap it. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know, but it just seemed like what they ended up doing was just straight up run of the mill shit. It was like there was nothing that we had that like from the excitement that we coming off of like of the Patriots game where they brought stuff out where like they had different looks and everything looked better, and they just went and reversed this game.
Yeah, I don't know. That was really really disappointing to see at home. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better spot having a rookie quarterback come in. They didn't even go back home. They didn't even travel back to Denver. They've spent the whole week in fucking West Virginia. You had extra time rest, having played extra time rest and extra time to prepare, having played on Thursday night. I mean, that was really, really a bad spot and a bad look. But we'll see what happens next week. We'll see where they go from here. And now we have, obviously the Bills lost last night, and now we have. I haven't even been checking the score of the Dolphins game. I don't know if you have that turned on. I don't know
Still
where the
zero
Dolphins
zero.
are. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. And then as far as the rest of the games in the league, I mean, we had another week of upsets, another week of a lot of upsets, another week of unfortunate injuries for a lot of teams. So I mean, the dust is still settling. We'll see what happens at the end of this Monday night doubleheader, but I don't know. Where are we with the Giants? I mean, they obviously had the
Um,
Thursday game, but
who are they?
has there
Who do
been
they?
any noteworthy fallout from the Cowboys game?
No, I think if anything, it's being looked at as a like I just get the idea that it's like a more of a uh moral victory. Like Daniel Jones played whatever he played well, you know. And I don't know. It just seems like it's not like they mad that they lost, but more so like they don't. It's almost like we expected to lose to them. From what I gathered, like I don't even hear much more. I don't hear outrage or anything like that. It's almost like whatever.
Yeah, I think that there's so many of the Giants fans are just dead inside. So I don't know if they can like muster up the strength to really have any any excessive emotion, either good or bad, about this team and where they are right now. I just feel like they're a little bit broken, but we shall see. We shall see what happens. We shall see where they go next. Um, Next up, obviously, we have the Jets. Big Sam Darnold revenge game in London for the Jets taking on the Vikings, and then the
Hmm.
Giants are headed to Seattle, which is I guess kind of a Geno Smith revenge game. It's a pretty good. I mean, I don't know, rest wise, as good of a Seattle spot as you're gonna get. I think to have the Seattle
Hmm.
playing a Monday night game on the you have Seattle playing a Monday night game. It's I guess it's not East Coast, but I think it's Eastern. I think Detroit is in the Eastern time zone, right? I think I
I'm
should
pretty
know that,
sure it
but
is.
so they're gonna have to. I mean, the Giants could already be out there since they had extra rest. So as good of a Seattle spot as they're gonna get. Jets spot. I mean, both teams going to London. Who the hell knows? I feel like that's
That's
pretty
a
much
wash.
equal. There's not no one really has an advantage there. Um, and then are there any other really noteworthy games looking ahead to next week? It's going to be interesting to see where the Chiefs go without Rasheed Rice, since he was
No, that
there.
everything is a-okay. They are going to spread the ball out according to
So now, what is this
ESPN.com.
headline that I'm reading here? I didn't see this, but I'm reading a headline here. Salah backtracks on Jets Roger. Salah backtracks on Rogers' cadence.
Oh,
Rogers' cadence being an issue.
it was I don't know. I think it was a ridiculous thing to say yesterday. like when they asked about like the false starts, and they asked about like how if that's something that they should maybe dial back, like with Aaron Rodgers and his cadence to kind of get other people off sides and get the free plays and everything. The greatest to do it undoubtedly when it comes to that, bar none. Um, he said, "Oh yeah, maybe we should look at like dialing that back." Which Rodgers responded like kind of snarkily, it seems, but I didn't see the actual. Um, I didn't see the video of him saying it, but like the way it was typed out was seemed kind of snarky, where he was like, or
Listen,
maybe they should just be.
Aaron Rodgers was the person saying it, so you
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you, you can imagine it was snarky.
yeah. So, or he said, or maybe they should just, or maybe they should be held accountable, like as the people who are get coming off sides, you know.
So how long before Rodgers gets sick of Salah and has him fired?
Um, I think that they're gonna win one of these next two games, or Buffalo or Minnesota. If I get crazy and win both, then everything is all solved. But I do think they win one of the next two games. So depending on which one it is, like for example, if they win this one, it kind of quells that a little bit. But if they lose this one, it's gonna linger a little bit more. You know how it goes over here, like how they everything is all the New York reporters love to like poke
My
and
question
prod.
is not. You always do this. My question was not about the reporters. My question was very
No,
specifically about the Salah Rogers relationship. How long before Rogers gets sick of Salah and wants him out?
well, because see, this is the thing. You, one of the things that aren't really taken into account, because people say, "Oh, it's the media, it's the fans." That might be true everywhere else, but here in New York, it's a real thing, because when you're asked about it 40 times and you keep getting asked about it, it brings it up again, and it makes it a little bit more like you're more annoyed by it. So if it's this week, like I said, and he's getting more annoyed by it, maybe the shit starts to leak out, and he's like, you know what? I'm over this. I'm over this guy. But if they do win, then that kind of gets squashed for a little bit. That's what I'm saying. It's such so emotional, and you know what I'm saying, like, and up and down. It's like if they go out and win this week, everything is all good, and and everything is crisp. Nobody cares anymore. But if they lose, they're gonna be asked about it. They're gonna be bringing it up. Oh, your speculation and all that, and it just turns into like a self-fulfilling prophecy, in my opinion, as humble as it is.
Yeah, it's just weird because I just feel like so. Why can't Salah seem to just not have some bullshit 1 week without some foolishness, whether it's an awkward handshake or a comment he's got to backtrack. Like, how long is Salah
Because
just
he's too fucking lovey-dovey, man. He never wants to say anything bad. But then by saying, like, for example, what his response was
is he still keeping
basically,
receipts?
no, no, no. Well, those are the 30 days. Like, you can't return anything. You can't return anything anymore on that. That, like, when you had that shit in your pocket and the ink, the thermal shit, they got the lines through it and all that. But
Oh
but the
man.
thing is, it's like hit that response. I'm pretty sure that response was like for him not to throw, like, because Tyron Smith and Brees Hall, they had four of the false starts, because they had two each. And I guarantee you that was both that response was to kind of not throw them under the bus, and to be able to see, like, oh, is there going to be any discipline? No, we'll see. Like, so he didn't get that question. That's what it was. I'm 100% sure of it. But by doing that, he sticks his foot in his mouth because he doesn't know. Like, you can't talk that much and not want to say anything. Like, if you don't want to say anything, don't talk that much. That's his problem. He wants to give answers because he doesn't want to be an asshole because he's too much of a good person. He doesn't want to be an asshole, but what ends up happening is that you talk yourself into a garbage can of nonsense that you shouldn't be putting yourself into. It's like, oh yeah, you know what, and maybe they're all good players, but like maybe we should look at it about dialing it back a little bit, and then they go, oh, Salah says maybe you should dial it back. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you talk you can't give this many words to reporters, especially reporters in New York, like because they're gonna spin it however they want, and he doesn't learn. Like by this point, it's like, yo, either do the Belichick do the Belichick or fucking go on do a fucking opening monologue. Like, but he's trying to do the Belichick about but talking too much. But he wants to use different words. So by the time when you want to keep, like, almost like when you're doing an essay and you want to say, when you're writing an essay and you want to say the same shit, but you want to use more words because you need a bigger word count. Like, that's what he does. He just talks. He says the same shit and says it differently, so it sounds like he's saying something else.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel bad because I really wanted to be on board with Salah, but I think he lost me with the whole Joe Beningo fiasco. That was when I was just like, this guy just doesn't get it. He's lost. And now I'm just getting this vibe that, like, he has yet to find a way as a head coach to balance being a player's coach, having good relationships with the players, but also maintaining a standard. Just feels like there's no standard. Like you said, I don't think that there's an issue with the culture in terms of the locker room and just in terms of, like, the vibes of the team. But I feel like, and this is the thing that I've heard brought up a lot, that there's no accountability. But for me, I don't even worry so much about accountability, because I feel like when people throw out, oh, you're not holding people accountable, is that they want to see you get in a guy's face and pull him by the face
Yeah.
mask and all this bullshit. And I don't think any of that is really necessary. That's not what I feel like is missing from him in terms of holding players accountable. But I mean, I guess it's along those same lines, but I view it as a little bit differently in terms of just holding a standard. Like, it's okay to project a certain standard of expectation and maintain that and not make excuses whenever you fall short of the standard of expectation. Like, he's not shy about saying that they have aspirations of, being trying to win a division, trying to be a playoff team, ultimately being a Super Bowl team. Like, they've all kind of come out and given voice to that, which I think is good, and that's holding the team to a high standard. But you can maintain that standard without losing the team or losing your status as a player's coach. I just feel like he hasn't found that voice and that sweet spot to be able to do so, because every time things are kind of not going well or things are not up to the standard that everybody else kind of expects and that they seem to have set, he doesn't seem to have a response. He doesn't seem to have a response to those types of things, and it just seems like he just, like you said, he just kind of just throws out all these sort of he over talks, he throws out, and I don't even really think he throws out word salads, because I don't like, there's a lot of coaches who they just go and give you coach speak and throw a bunch of words out there, and it's very intentional and deliberate and, like, calculated, where I don't think that he's being deliberately evasive. I feel like he's just trying to walk a line that he can't walk.
Hmm.
So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with him. I don't. It's awful because I feel like he's just saddled. Listen, for whatever you want to say about the false starts and the offensive game plan and the plays weren't what they should be and where the people lining people up. That's not his ballyhoo. He's the defensive guy, and the defense did their job. I mean, there were obviously mistakes, and there were some plays that, particularly towards the end of the game, that I'm sure they would have liked back. But overall, you can't come down on the defense for that L. I don't think, especially now, that was a real rough watch, considering that this season I was promised that we weren't going to have any more of these Zach Wilson games. That was another Zach Wilson game. That's what that was. That's the same game that they were playing all of last year. There was very little different about that game than there was from the Zach Wilson games, except Rodgers didn't turn the ball over. But, Zach Wilson was very capable of that same type of performance that they had. And it just felt like we were still watching this just fucking incompetent offense and just this dragged in the mud type of game. I didn't think we were going to still be seeing that. To be honest with you, I thought.
I was one thing. I don't mean to cut you off, but we do have to take into account the weather.
Well, I was just about to get to the weather, and no, I'm not going to take into account the weather because, first of all, if that weather is going to be first of all, Rodgers is not supposed to have problem with weather. He's supposed to be Mr. Green Bay. He's supposed to be getting it done. And listen, if I don't want to hear about weather, because if you can't play in weather, you can't play in New York. Period. So if that weather is going to be a problem in fucking September, then you got the wrong guy. I mean, there's no excuse for that. And even so, you want to tell me the weather? Listen, when it came down to it, I saw Bo Nix make a pass in the fourth quarter to put his team in field goal position that Rodgers was unable to make.
Yeah, I mean, that pass was a duck. It's just
no. I'm talking about. I don't know what pass you're talking about. I'm talking
the
about
touchdown.
I'm not talking about the touchdown
Oh,
pass.
okay.
I said to put his team in field goal position.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up missing the field goal. But in that fourth quarter, when they were eating up yards on the ground, and then Bo Nix had I forget who the receiver was, but he had a nice dart over the middle for I think it was a 20-yard gain, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I saw him complete passes, particularly in the second half when the weather started to let up. So I don't really want to hear about the weather as an excuse. Come on, man. This is New York football. You came here to win games. You got the guy from Green Bay. Get the fuck out of here with weather. Give me a break. It's September. You're supposed to be expecting to be playing fucking playoff games in MetLife Stadium in December. You're telling me you couldn't find a way to beat a rookie quarterback? You couldn't find a way to score 9 points against the fucking more than 9 points against the Denver Broncos at home in September with a fucking 3 extra days rest? There's no excuse. I don't want to hear weather. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, fucking the other shit, man. I don't know what it must have been Malik Neighbor. It's definitely Malik Neighbor's fault that he didn't get flagged for the gun celebration that they do now, this thing or whatever. But yo,
I don't even know what celebration.
This thing where they pretend they're shooting.
Oh yeah.
In the air.
Neighbors.
Let me tell you. Yeah, he did it twice last week after his touchdowns, but he wasn't flagged for them. He was fined for them, and and because of that, they made it a point of emphasis yesterday. And if you saw, there was in the Saints game. I will say the one that was in the Saints game. Maybe it was another NFC South team or NFC team. That was just as egregious. But giving a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct to I'm sorry.
About the Lazard.
No. I'm gonna say it was a bow and arrow. They gave him for a bow and arrow in the shit, where was the it was the Commanders game that I think Terry McLaurin did the bow and arrow celebration, and they gave him a 15-yard flag for that. Like that's ridiculous, man. Like I thought that, like you can't obviously do the gun gesture or anything like that, or do something to like the opponent. But Alan Lazard got on the floor and did this, a first down on the floor while he was sitting on the floor, and just did this like as like a first down, like, gun thing or whatever. And he got 15 yard, and they brought the ball back from the 25-yard line to the to the 40 something yard line. And I mean that, that's in and of it, he should be smarter than that. But what are we doing?
Exactly. That's where it ends. Why are you
Yeah.
doing this? That's where it ends. He should be smarter than that. He should be smarter than that. And regardless, you scored 9 points at home with extra rest. Like, I don't want to hear about an unfair penalty, unsportsmanlike, when the guy shouldn't fucking know better.
Yeah, but no, my point is, like, I feel like I've seen that a million times before. That's my point. Like, not that, yeah, he should be done, like, nothing with guns. You shouldn't be doing anything. But I feel like, I feel like finger guns, that's not guns. Like, as soon as like, anytime somebody, a wide receiver goes like this and does this thing where they point first down, I've seen that a million times. That is not a gun penalty.
I don't know why you do this, but okay. I mean, I have no sympathy at all to hear Jets or
It's
the
done.
Jets
It's
fans
done.
bemoan an unsportsmanlike penalty when they embarrass themselves in a game. No one wants to hear that. That
Well, I
did
mean,
not
that's part
change
of the
the game at
embarrassment.
all. That was terrible.
Okay. Okay. How
So
about
that's why they lost. That's why they lost to the
no,
Broncos at home,
it's a
because
it's
the
just
refs screwed them.
no, it's just part of it. And it was just ridiculous that yesterday they were throwing flags all over the place for shit like that shouldn't be thrown, like that they shouldn't be throwing flags for. Like it happened in the Commanders game, and even Mark Schlereth said how ridiculous it was. I'm just saying, it was just something extra to throw out there. Excuse me.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. Another week in the books. We'll see how this week ends up for Word Life. He has a point on the line with the Tennessee Titans, so we'll see how that works out. And then next week we got some big games. That London game, that's an early joint, right? That's a 9 o'clock,
9:30.
Wow, so
9:30
you're gonna have to
vehicle.
get up extra early for that game. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Sam Darnold revenge game on tap. It's a good. I feel
He's
like
a
it's a good spot to catch the Vikings though.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I took solace in losing the 1 point play, is that maybe there's a chance that these guys get their shit together, and these guys are feeling themselves, and maybe overlook the Jets a little bit. Not that I have any concern when it comes to that coaching staff as opposed to this one, the Jets one, but it's all psychology, man. There's something. No matter what, man, you're more likely to take your foot off the gas when you're in a certain position, as opposed to like when you're desperate or you've just been embarrassed, and you're in that position, as opposed to like, oh wow, Super Bowl candidates. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not counting on it, but I'm just hoping for it.
Well, we shall see. We shall see how it goes. That is one in the books. Until next week, we'll be back with another 3-pick week. Oh, I forgot to mention, or I think I did mention, but I think it should be restated because it was incredible. The moneyline parlays, my goodness. Plus 552 and plus 718 for Word Life. Bravo, Word Life, hitting on a plus 718 moneyline parlay. That's impressive stuff. I gotta tip my cap. That was really fantastic. I thought the money line wise, we all did really well with the picks. Um, even the Cardinals pick that killed your money line, I still don't think that. I still feel like that was a great spot for the Cardinals. They just fucking blew it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not your fault. They at minimum. I thought they'd cover the game, but they at minimum should have won the game. The fact that they
Hmm.
got blown out and blown away by a team that was coming off of a Monday nighter, and I don't know. I still don't know what to make of the Commanders. It seems like Jaden Daniels is improving pretty quickly, but I think that it'll be interesting to see if defenses start to kind of put together a more efficient, effective game plan now that they see what they're trying to do with him a little bit better. But
Yeah.
until
And
next
I
week,
mean,
we will see. Go ahead. Last but not
no, no, no. I
least,
was just no, no, no. I was just saying, like, what? Just agreeing with you. Like, he's been phenomenal, but part of the thing, where like you're seeing higher completion percentages, just because defenses are kind of giving that up a little bit more. So when they see that, like, maybe we shouldn't be giving this guy everything because he could be lulling you to sleep, and then he hits you over the top for Terry McLaurin. Has he like how he's had like he how he has the last 2 weeks with the long Terry McLaurin touchdown plays? Maybe it's time to switch up the strategy a little bit on that one.
yeah. And then last but not least, about the Mets. How are you feeling heading into the playoffs? You got to feel good.
Yeah, good. I mean, I have tempered expectations in terms of what they're gonna do. Like what,
I would
starting
have really
tomorrow.
liked for them to knock the Braves out of the playoffs in that
I
second game,
did,
but
yeah, I did but only after I saw, because a, I didn't want to do it as if it came like, because it worked out perfectly because they won the first game. Had they lost the first game, then they would have had to start Severino, and then that would have been a disaster going into Milwaukee, even if they had pulled it out, going into Milwaukee tomorrow. The way it worked out, and Joey Lucchesi did play a good game. Like I think he got them into the sixth inning, if I'm not mistaken, and that's when they kind of gave up a couple runs. Um, and they started off that game because I was listening to the radio. I didn't even because the game didn't even have a start time. So I went out real quick to like pick up my son from football practice, and it was like, oh, the game is underway, and I'm like, oh shit. So I put the radio on, and they're like, oh, I think in the first inning, they threw seven, like the Braves threw 7 pitches and got the 3 outs. So it's like they were swinging, they didn't really care. Um, and honestly, I think they probably wanted the the matchup with the Brewers only because they were just there. It's a shorter trip. These games do start tomorrow. Padres are a hotter team. I just think like once they got that one in the bag, they're like, they didn't really
yeah,
take it that seriously. When I saw some of the stuff that like Michael Harris was mocking the Mets celebration after they took the lead or whatever, or no, when they first took the lead, because I think he's the one who kind of broke it open. Then I was like, you know what, let these motherfuckers stay home. But I'm happy with the one win. If they gotta meet up with them again, I like the chances because they pretty much got the boogeyman. Like they got the monkey off their back when it comes to like the Braves. Like they won the first one because had they lost the first one, then also they have that tension of like, yo, oh, we're gonna let this
yeah.
happen
It's
again. They're
happening
gonna,
again, exactly.
yeah, 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 exactly. So I'm glad they won the first game, took the tension off that game. Now they know mentally that they only lost that second game because they didn't have to play seriously or play or have Severino start. So they have that mentally in the bank. Um, the resilience of this team, I like. They did win the last game in Milwaukee, so maybe that's like still in their. And this is a team that goes on runs, so I do like the chances, but I mean my hope the, from the expectations we had from the beginning of the season, it's not, you can't be getting greedy. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Them, everybody in the world doubted this team, and everybody wants to throw
yeah. I
out
mean,
all the
including the
highest.
announcers.
Yeah, well, there you
Famously,
go.
we're sounding
And
like a
like
funeral.
the disingenuous uh use of the highest payroll in baseball history. Like, come on, man. We know that's not the on-field product. So
Yeah.
don't act like that. Don't act like they have $400 million like on the field. They have, not that it's the crying poverty, but first of all, they don't they that payroll, the biggest numbers on there were Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, and one of them is Kodai Senga, who pitched 6 innings for the Mets this season.
Yeah. Six lights
So
out innings too, but
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the that's
And
the hardest
also,
part about
and
it.
let's not forget that they're still paying the Baltimore's catcher $8 million this year, and I believe they're paying somebody else. So um, I forget what his name is. Whatever, the catcher from the starting catcher for the Baltimore Orioles, and it
Not
seems like
Rushman.
no, the backup. I'm sorry.
Is Rushman hurt?
No. No, Gunnar Henderson. Is it Gunnar Henderson? No, Gunnar Henderson is the.
Yeah, but Henderson's isn't he shortstop?
Oh yeah, I get those two confused. But uh, whatever, not important. But there's a lot of payroll that's not on the team. So this is whatever payroll that's all the biggest, the most expensive team. That's disingenuous. That's not what's actually on the field. This team is a different team, man. I love the way they play. They're scrappy, and I don't know, man. I can't, like I said, can't get greedy. Everything is icing on the cake with this. So I mean, it's fun.
I love it. And before we go, Carl Anthony Towns, yay or nay?
Um, Yay. Only because only because Knicks fans hate it. So um that automatically means it's probably a good move. Um, B, today's game, you need somebody that plays like that. You can't have your only in today's
Soft?
game. You not, but yeah,
No,
they're
I'm
all
just playing.
soft. But I'm saying like that they're all soft anyway. So you can in today's game you can't have your only center be Mitchell Robinson. That's not going to work. And your backup being Precious Achua. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, and on top of that, it couldn't have been Julius Randle either. So them being able to get like one of the top 15 stars in the game for a guy that they signed off the street last year, and Julius Randle, who, I mean, let's be honest, he's a good player, hard nosed. Salute to him for actually going to New York and doing his like kind of putting the team on his back for those couple of years. But you basically got Carl Anthony Towns for just players that you signed, not players that you drafted, invested heavy capital in terms of like moving up or trading for. You got these two free agents that overperformed, and you were able to flip them into one of the you know, top 15 to 20-ish players in the league, and that also fits with what today's game is going to be. And they are and pretty much the Timberwolves already showed you what that game plan works when you have a traditional defensive big man paired with somebody like Cat, where you have to on offense you stretch out the defense, and on defense you don't he's not as much of a liability because you have somebody who's actually playing defense down there. So I just think it's a perfect fit, and we go from like the team being too small to now this team matches up. Now if anything, this team is big now at full
All right.
strength.
Okay. Well, there you have it. It is a yay for Carl Anthony Towns, and it is a yay for us coming back next week. I'm planning on getting back on track. I was able to watch football. I was able to fully consume. I will be better this week, I promise. I don't know what the hell happened to me last week, but we will be back on track for week 5. Don't you worry. Don't you worry about a thing. I'm not going anywhere. And you're catching up to the box too. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. The box
Nice.
might not actually win this year, so that'll be a good thing. But until next week, hopefully we'll be back with Word Life. People, stay safe out
Salute.
there in
Let's
the
go, Mets.
hurricane area.
Ding, ding, ding.